Stay with us until the very end of this story, because what starts as a quiet act of kindness blossoms into something truly unforgettable. And if you believe in the power of humanity, please like this video and subscribe to Pure Kindness Stories, where simple moments turn into life-changing memories. It was the kind of morning that made the world feel heavy. Gray clouds rolled over the sky like slow waves, and rain tapped gently against the windows of a small-town diner called Sunnyside Cafe. Inside, the smell of fresh eggs, maple syrup, and damp wool lingered in the air. In the far corner sat Martha Langley, a petite, soft-spoken 78-year-old woman with kind eyes and a slow, gentle presence. Her cardigan hung loosely over her shoulders, and her hands trembled slightly as she lifted her coffee mug. She was well known in the town, not for being loud or flashy, but because she had a way of remembering birthdays, asking how your grandkids were, or slipping an extra $1 into the church fund when no one was watching. But today, she looked tired. It was a day she never celebrated with joy. It was her late husband Arthur's birthday. He had passed 23 years ago, a soldier who came home with invisible wounds from a war few talked about anymore. Every year on his birthday, Martha did one simple thing in his memory, one act of kindness for someone in uniform. Across town, no one would have noticed James Turner as anything more than a soldier passing through. His army jacket clung to him, soaked from the walk in the rain. He looked young, mid-20s, but his eyes held something far older. The kind of grief that doesn't show in tears but in silence. He stepped inside the cafe, rain dripping from his sleeves, and sat at the bar. He didn't open the menu. He didn't say a word. The waitress, Claire, approached with a gentle smile. "Can I get you something to warm up, hon?" He hesitated. "Just coffee for now." From across the room, Martha watched him. There was something about the way he sat, shoulders curved, gaze lost in the floor, that pulled at her heart. She remembered that look. Arthur had worn it too after he came back from war. It was the look of someone carrying something too heavy to say out loud. She signaled Claire over. "His breakfast," she whispered. "Put it on my tab. And don't tell him." Claire smiled. "Still doing Arthur's tradition, huh?" Martha nodded. "Every year." He would have done the same. James hadn't eaten in almost 20 hours. He'd flown across 2 states, hit 3 delays, lost his luggage, and hadn't had the strength to sit for a proper meal. But food wasn't the reason he hadn't ordered, it was his mind. 2 days ago, he got a call from his aunt. His mother's cancer had worsened. Stage 4 had turned into final stage, and the doctors didn't know how long she had left. He was rushing home on emergency leave, hoping he wouldn't arrive too late. He was exhausted, physically, emotionally, spiritually. When Claire placed a steaming plate of eggs, bacon, toast, and fresh orange juice in front of him, he blinked. "I didn't order," he murmured. "It's taken care of," Claire smiled. From a kind stranger. James stared down at the plate, silent. He tried to speak, but his throat caught. He looked around, but there was no one watching him. Just faces in booths, couples sipping coffee, an old woman gathering her umbrella to leave. Before she exited, Martha left a folded napkin with Claire. "Please give this to the soldier after I go." When James opened it moments later, he read. To the young man in uniform. "My husband was once like you. He served with courage and came home with quiet pain. Today is his birthday, and I miss him more than words allow. Thank you for carrying the weight he once bore. Breakfast is the least I can do. Martha." He read the note 3 times. And then, in the middle of the cafe, a single tear rolled down his cheek. James made it home that night. His mother was asleep when he arrived, too weak to speak. But the next morning, she opened her eyes and smiled when she saw him. They talked, really talked, for the first time in years. She told him about her favorite memories of him as a child, of his father, of the things she regretted and the things she was proud of. 2 days later, she passed peacefully in her sleep, holding his hand. James stayed for the funeral, but something in him changed. The grief remained, but the napkin in his pocket reminded him there was still goodness in the world. Martha's gesture had become a lifeline. He kept her letter in his wallet, worn and creased, and swore to carry her kindness forward. 6 months later, no longer in uniform, James packed his car and drove back to that small town. He didn't tell anyone why. He didn't have a plan. He just knew he had to find her. It took 3 days and 6 conversations with strangers before someone pointed him to a white house with blue shutters and rose bushes out front. Martha opened the door cautiously. She hadn't remembered the face, but when James pulled out the napkin, she froze. You're the young man from the diner." He nodded, swallowing back tears. "You saved me. That morning, I was heading to say goodbye to my mom. I didn't know if I could get through it. Your words, they stayed with me." Martha's lips trembled. "And you came all this way?" "I had to. I needed to say thank you. Anne. I want to do something more." That visit turned into weeks. James helped fix her fence, mow her lawn, and repair her aging heater. He shared stories of his mother. She shared stories of Arthur. And then James had an idea: what if others like him, other veterans and lonely seniors, could find each other? What if Martha's kindness could grow? With Martha's blessing, James founded the Langley Project, a national program that connects veterans with elderly citizens, creating companionship, healing, and purpose. By the time Martha passed 4 years later, the program had helped over 10,000 people. At her memorial, James gave the eulogy. "She fed me breakfast. But more than that, she fed my soul. I came into her life a broken man. She reminded me how kindness, even in the smallest dose, can save a life. I was just a stranger. But she saw a soldier. A son. A human being. Maybe you're like Martha, living quietly, holding on to memories, wondering if small acts still matter. Or maybe you're like James, fighting silent battles no one sees. This story proves one truth: kindness is never wasted. So the next time you see someone struggling, remember Martha. Remember that even a coffee, a note, or a smile could be the spark that lights someone's darkest day. If this story moved you, don't forget to like this video, share it with someone who believes in hope, and subscribe to Pure Kindness Stories. Because together, we can make the world feel a little less lonely, one act at a time.